So today's video is really going to be highlighting the 6 signs that you are, in fact, a divine being. So first off, what is a divine being? So a divine being, in my opinion, is an expression of the all that is happening. So it's like basically living, breathing God form, and just one expression, because everything around us is divine, from the earth that we inherit to the trees that the leaves grow from, to the birds, to the squirrels, to the whatever else you have out there. All of it is divine. All of it is God. And so divine beings are those expressions that are living, breathing, and can move around. Like, for example, birds are even divine beings. But we as imagination-bearing beings are like supreme to those things here, because those things are part of the earth, and so are we, but those things are our inheritance. Like the birds, they can deliver our messages. The grass and the ground can deliver our wants, our desires, and our appreciations. And the day that this is being recorded is the new moon. And so let's rise in abundance, wealth, and prosperity. We want that risen. Let's tell the universe, tell everything that could possibly be associated or attached to something else living. So if you have grass, right? There's so much grass around the world. And just like people talk, the beings, the other spiritual beings that we're here with, they have their own vibrations as well. So when you tell the grass, it's gonna permeate and vibe out to the dirt. The dirt's gonna absorb that. All the creatures inside of the dirt is gonna hear it. They're gonna pass it on, and then the dream is gonna be passed on to the world eventually. The trees are gonna find out, the water, because everything's interacting with each other. And then someone that is high vibrational somewhere else will hear it, because the grass will deliver the message, or the universe will deliver it to them, your angels, whatever you believe in. But things are happening, and there are forces that are working for us. So you have to understand that being a divine being is literally purely just existing. Anyone and everyone that is breathing is a divine being. Now, do they recognize that? Yes, no, maybe so, 99, 100, I don't know. Maybe not. Do they live by that? Maybe so, maybe not. Do all beings serve the same cause? Yes, no, maybe so, 99, 100, who knows? And we all know for a fact that that's just not true. All those beings don't serve the same things. They just don't do that. So we have to be aware of which beings we're serving, which gods we're looking at, because if you're not serving yourself, what are you doing, really? And not saying, because we're not, in this society, we're not raised to do that. So it's not your fault if you do or you don't, but be objective. It's a yes or no question, because it's on you to fix that within yourself. Nobody can fix you. Nobody can undress you really into your soul, into your core, into that internal aspect of you that no one can see except for people who can see you. Because there are people that can really see you. There are people that can see past the facade. They can see straight to your soul. And some of those people aren't good. Some of those people are very negative. And that makes you easily susceptible to negativity. And then some of those people are good. But there are some people that can just see you straight to your soul and you don't have to change. Those are the people that we're looking to attach ourselves to and attract. And to have those kind of people, you have to be those kind of people too. Your social circle reflects your inner soul and your inner sanctity and your inner temple. If your inner temple is messed up, if your temple ain't standing strong, if your temple ain't standing high, then you got a lot more things to deal with than you think. Because those are fundamental flaws. Those are fundamental errors and issues that we have to address before you can have access to this promised land, to this promised kingdom that is yours. But you have to be worthy of it. Yes, it's a journey to get here, but somewhere along the path something went wrong. Because this is fundamental. There's so many fundamental flaws that this can no longer persist. The way things have been happening can no longer happen because things are now being set right. The scales have been balanced. Ma'at is being restored, and it's not going to be for some people. Let me tell you what I see. It's going to be like a seesaw, right? On one hand, people are going to hit the ground very hard, and their butts are going to hurt, and they might even be a little injured. On the other hand, there is going to be a group of people that rises so quickly to the top, and it's such an exhilarating ride that they might even bump a little bit when they get up there. Because depending how the weight is dispersed, you going up there could be just as dangerous as you hitting the ground. Because if you're not holding on right, if you're not bracing yourself and you're not prepared, you're going to fly off the seesaw and crash to the ground. And crash. Or you're going to rise up to the top and you're going to like spread your arms out and you're going to say, oh my gosh, wow, that was so fun, let's do it again. So be aware, brace yourself, because you ever seen somebody that's unexpectedly on a seesaw and ends up at the top of it? They done busted their nose, might have fallen off, maybe even fell off on the way up and fell off the side of it. But the person that's prepared for it and that's braced, got their hands on the bars, got their feet on the ground, got their knees ready and bent, and they like, all right, bop, and they ready, they go up, and they have a great time up there. But what's going to happen, the difference is that this is a seesaw that's permanent, and this change, well, I won't say permanent, this is a seesaw change that will establish a new way of being for those people that are on the side that it goes up. And it will establish a new way of being for those people on the side that go down. It's like a seesaw that turns into a staircase. Because what we want now, the manifestations are arriving so much quicker because there's a separation happening. And you're either going to be someone that's on the top of the seesaw or someone that's on the bottom of the seesaw. The good thing is there's a staircase and it goes either way. So someone that no longer needs to be in the higher place, the higher vibrational place, the good place, so to speak, can go downstairs to the other place. And then the other place, people will be able to go to climb their stairs and go up to the top place. Or to the good place, whatever you want to call it. But you have to be ready to brace yourself. Because when it hits, it's going to hit. When it hits, it's gonna hit, so brace yourself. How do you brace yourself? You brace yourself by standing strong. You brace yourself by powering on, even when times feel hard and times feel challenging. You keep going, you persevere, because you have faith that this is going to work out, because thy will be done. What did we say last video? Thy will be done? God's will be done. What does will mean? Desires. God's desires be done. What does be done mean? Happen. God's desires happen. Who is God? Me. My. I am God. You are God. My desires happen. Thy will be done. My desires happen. God's desires happen. So trust in that, because that is trusting in yourself. Because for the longest, you've always said that the only person you can trust in is you. You've always said that. So believe that and trust in yourself, trust in your God power, and then you will be the divine being, right? And so now we'll go into 6 signs that you are a divine being. Number 1, you never really fit in. No matter how popular you may have been, no matter how amazing you were, no matter what, or externally, because it's an external expression. So no matter how you may have quote-unquote fit in or tried to mold yourself to fit in, because that's what we are raised to do in this society, is fit in. Everybody wants to be liked. Everybody cares. Everybody cares so much. And it can be detrimental. And when I say cares, I mean everybody is so aware of what everyone else is doing, but tends not to know what they have going on within themselves. And you can't get very far with that idea. So you never really fit in. You always kind of felt like you were an outsider. Maybe you really were an outsider. But some people are outsiders because they want people to feel like they're outsiders, because they really want to be inside, and they're so uncomfortable with that they have to project it and pretend like they like to be alone. So I'm not talking about those people. If you're one of those people, you have a completely different set of issues, and you're not at the state yet where you're on this level. But that's okay, because you can get there. But I just want to be very clear about who I'm talking about. So anyway, you never really fit in, not because you were a self-hater, but because you were someone who just didn't, the status quo just didn't make sense. Like when people were just telling you jump, and you're like asking, well, why? And everyone else says, how high? And they're jumping around, and you're still on the ground like, I don't understand why we're jumping. I'm not in PE. What's going on? Why are we jumping? Tell me. And then, because if there's a reason, sure, I'll jump. But if you're just asking me to jump just to watch me jump, you're not about to watch anything. So you never really fit in because you were greater than the circumstances. The bubbles that you try to confine yourself to always burst, and somehow you find yourself all over the place. It's because you weren't meant to be contained. Number 2, you have an overactive imagination, okay? If you're someone like myself who has an overactive imagination, you probably are always in the clouds and you're always daydreaming. You get distracted really easily. Sometimes you forget what you're talking about. People can describe you a little bit as ditzy or off. They're like, you're the dumbest smart person I've ever met. You're kind of quirky and just kind of different. Like there's just different things about you. You're very creative. You can always come up with new ideas. You can read people like a book. You know what's going on. And your imagination just goes crazy. Like you just see things and you imagine that the grass is talking. You imagine that things happen. And then you notice things start to happen. Okay, number 3, you are often misunderstood. So not only do you not fit in, but because you are probably incredibly blunt, people get offended by what you're saying, and they don't understand the intent behind it, but they see they receive the negative aspect of the blunt force of that what you're saying, but not the compassion and the I want to help you kind of aspect of it. They don't like. Sometimes people can misunderstand your intentions because of how they feel about themselves and what you represent to them. And so when you ask, like, hey, what's going on with your business or something, they start, and you literally just say, hey, what's going on with your business? They start going, well, I'm doing this, and then, or they get defensive and start yelling at you, I do my stuff when I'm ready, and you're like, that's not even what type of time I was on. I was just, if you ever find yourself saying, I was just asking a question, and here I was just trying to help, here I was just trying to extend an olive branch, that's what I'm talking about. Or you're an artist or someone who no one really understands what you're doing. People think you're crazy. Everything you do is like, oh my gosh, why would you do that? All the scaredy people, the people that are afraid of their shadow, but love to puff their chest out kind of people will call you crazy and say, who do you think you are trying to do? And why do you want to do that? People will do this and 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 that. And you're like, I don't give a S what people will do. I'm living my life. Try it sometimes and maybe you'll be happier and you won't have all the problems you have. Calling and complaining about the same stuff every year. Like you don't know, and I haven't told you every year how to fix it. And you keep calling me about stupid stuff and that you're causing. But then got the nerve to stick your nose down and tell me how to live my life? Well, you haven't done anything with yours? Those kind of people. If you find yourself saying that, yeah. Number 4, people describe you as a troublemaker. Everywhere you go, trouble seems to follow. But not because you're doing anything. It's just things just happen. Or like people just feel that you cause trouble because you're mischievous. Very much so into stuff. Because you're very curious. You just want to know what's going on. You conduct experiments with people. And you say, okay, well, if I do this, what is going to happen with this person? Okay, noted, I got this documented. Well, if this happens with this, how is this person going to react? You're very calculated. You're very smart. Some people will call that manipulative, but I just call it understanding who you are. Shoot, know your powers so you can use them and they won't be used against you on yourself, okay? Because if you aren't thinking and aware of yourself, someone else will be. That's why people do stuff and they say, I don't know why I did it. It's because you're vibrating low and you're allowing lower beings to think for you. That's what's happening, okay? Anyway, so people describe you as a troublemaker because you're like Inspector Gadget shining the light on everybody else's BS because you shine the light on your own too. So when if someone, like, let me clarify, you're not going around actively looking for people like, I got you in that phone. No, you're like, okay, I'm walking and going my way, and if BS tries to get in front of me, I'm shining the light on that BS until it no longer exists type thing. And people see that as trouble because there are some people who want to have corruption and want to have negativity going on. So here you come, Miss Daisy Do-Gooder, effing up what we got going on, effing up our operation. Because there's some sneaky bastards out there. Okay, so people like that describe you as a troublemaker, but really you're just living your best life, asking questions, being authentic. But everyone's not authentic, and inauthentic people describe the truth as trouble. Okay, because it's trouble for them. It sure is. Ooh. Okay, number 5, you march to the beat of your own drum. First of all, let me tell you that this bird just flew in front of my face. Okay. Okay. Whew. Look at my heart rate speeding up a bit. That was intense. Okay, number 5. You march to the beat of your own drum. You are so far in your own element, so far in who you are, that you completely are unaware, unconcerned, and unbothered with a lot of other things that people care about. For example, I didn't know that the Grammys just happened. I didn't know, and first of all, when I saw the artists in the Grammys, I didn't know who half those people, not even half, I knew probably a tenth of the artists on the thing. And then people like, oh, well, did you hear about such and such at work did this and this and that? Like, sometimes it's funny to hear the stories, but for you, it's like you're never fully aware of everything that's going on, but people come and tell you about it, kind of thing. Because you're so in your own stuff that you're so unaware, you're so in your own lane that you don't even notice the nonsense that's happening around you, because you're so in your own stuff, because you learned that when you are aware of what everybody else is doing, you step off the path and you start hanging out with lower vibrational things. You start, there's this old wives' tale where Jesus has the gates of heaven, the golden gates of heaven, and everybody's standing outside, right? And the preachers are preaching, the prostitutes are walking around, the prudes are mad at the prostitutes for walking around and the preachers not doing anything. The freedom fighters are standing outside protesting that the prudes should leave the prostitutes alone. The evil beings are causing chaos and broadcasting it on the TV so everyone can watch it. And the people minding their business, walking in their path, enter the kingdom and live their best life, while everyone else stands outside the gates fighting each other and concerning themselves with other people's business. And the being has discovered that when you march to the beat of your own drum, that's the only way that you can find your kingdom, and that's the only way for you to inherit the world, right? And then last but certainly not least on today, last but certainly not least, the last thing on the list for today's list. I got tongue twisted. Okay, miraculous things work for you. So things miraculously just work out for you. You don't even know why, but things just happen. Things just work out, and you're just like, oh my gosh, thank you. Thank you. Like last minute blessings happen. You know that no matter what happens, everything works out for you. Everything works out for you. Everything works out for you. And sometimes you're like, dang, oh my goodness. What was that about? How did that happen? And things just work out. That's how you know. And the good thing is that for anyone that's still listening, even if you only have 1 out of the 6, you are a divine being. Even if you have 0 out of the 6, you are quite possibly a divine being. No matter how many out of the 6 that you have, because that's just what I've noticed. That doesn't mean that that's the only thing. But something in you has resonated, and whether it's resonating and making you want to leave hate mail because it's resonating but you don't want to admit it yet, or because it's resonating and you really vibe with it. But either way, you're still here. So even if you don't understand and you're like, oh my gosh, I don't have any of those things, so what? That's okay. It doesn't matter. That doesn't matter, because anything not done in the kingdom didn't happen. So anything done when you were unaware doesn't matter. Move on. Heal from it. Take some time, do some inner care. How do you heal from it? Do some soul development and some soul discovery. Learn who you are. Learn about yourself. Learn about your people and your history, where you come from. Learn about the ancients. Learn about your past. Learn about your present. Learn about yourself. Learn about the people that raised you and understand how they affected you. Learn about the emotional attachments that you have and the spiritual soul ties that you have attached yourself to. Learn about the demons that you are running from that are still attacking you and knocking you down. Learn about that inner voice that's telling you you can't do it, and ask yourself, why do I think like that? Why do I feel the way that I do about myself? And then how do I fix it? And then you make the commitment to fix it, and you know that it's hard. It is a challenging path, but it's one that you can bear. Because up to this point, you have survived every bad day since. Every bad day that's ever happened to you, you have survived it. Anything that's ever happened to you bad, you have survived it. So why can't you live now? Why can't you survive this if it's something that's going to help you in the long run? Okay? So love yourself. We out of here.